Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Evolution: A New World. Now, this is a game playing off of its predecessor's Evolution, where you're doing your very best to squabble for control, establishing various creatures, various biological life, getting existing traits and merging them with brand new abilities, and slowly fighting for dominance over a region, for limited resources like food, and of course, for just general control of the space. You might craft for yourself a voracious nighttime crawler that's able to hunt in the altitude peaks of the Serengeti. Or you might, of course, craft a predator who's able to take out nearly any swimming animal you could come up with. That's the idea. That's the process of this game. Now, Evolution, like I said, is a series of games that's been around for some time. And it's been a very popular franchise that's continued to get iteration after iteration, playing upon those core ideas and those core systems. It's a game where you and your friends sit down around the table, craft various animal species, go head to head with a bit of take that across the course of play, and see who ends up with the most life, the most biological diversity at the end of 6 eras, typically. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what Evolution New World is, how it plays, how it functions, what you can expect from it. And for those of you that are already familiar with the Evolution series, at the end of this video I'm going to break down all of the new cards I have on hand here, talking to you about the traits and showing off some of the artwork and some of the different abilities that your different creatures will be able to have and adapt over the course of play. Now, this is coming to Kickstarter right now. You can find a link in the top of the video description, so swing over there and check out a few things. First and foremost, this is a early prototype or early production copy, so some elements like the resource cubes I have on hand here will actually be upgraded throughout the course of the Kickstarter. So make sure you check that out and take a closer look. So, let's set up what this game is. Evolution New World, like I said, is going to be a head-to-head 2 to 4 player. There might be a solo mode, but I'd have to double check to confirm that. 2 to 4 player game that focuses on you building out a diverse network of different biological life. In the course of the game, you're going to be drawing cards, and you're going to have a hand of multi-use cards that either can be played down to be brand new creatures, could be attached to your own creatures to be traits, or could be utilized as paired traits that give both creatures some special abilities. There's also, of course, a little bit of take that in this game, where you utilize a trait and play it on another character's creature, opening up the possibility to ignore some of their special abilities or forcing them to consume more food at the end of an era. Throughout the course of the game, you're going to have a different set of regions that start generating and populating, and you'll play through 3 epochs. Every time you come to the end of an age, you're going to collect food, collect shelter from these cards, bring them over to your animals, and also potentially engage in a bit of combat. If you've utilized a card that attaches a carnivore trait to one of your creatures, you will go hunting, either collecting your food from the middle of the island here, or if that food runs out, you'll be forced to attack other creatures, your own or your opponent's. Now, those creatures might have protective abilities like adaptive tail loss, or the chance to poison you if you consume them. Doesn't matter. If you're hungry, you're going to be forced to eat. Every turn you'll draw up cards, utilize those cards in your tableau, slowly trying to give and take and see what is available for you to hunt, devour, or protect yourself from around the table. You'll then go through a phase where you collect the resources off of cards, placing them down on your creatures as you consume and eat, and then at the end of that, you'll draw back up, you'll refresh a brand new land card until you're at the end of 6 rounds. At the end of 6 rounds, you're going to be determining who is still alive. You'll, of course, lose your creatures to predators and also to hunger. If your creatures have been unable to satisfy their desire to eat, which seems like an important thing to do, they will go extinct, meaning that you have less creatures to work with, less cards to play, and less points to score at the end of the game. The game is going to score around how many diverse creatures you have, how many diverse traits you have on those creatures, and how hungry or how much food demand your creatures take up. Whoever has the highest score at the end of the game is going to be the winner. Now, there's a lot of things to consider throughout the course of play. every card functions as a dual card. You can see here we have Nocturnal, Pack Hunting, Horned, Parasite, Carnivorous, and Transparent. There's a total of 30-something different traits and abilities in this game, and as you play, you'll be making the determination of establishing a new species, playing a card underneath that species to give yourself a bonus or your opponent a bonus, which Parasite, for instance, has to be played on my opponent's cards, or establishing a protective trait like Transparent makes it a little bit harder for other people to hunt you. And you'll be reacting to other people's play. Depending on how they decide to use their cards, you might need to attach a trait like Sharp Eyes so you can hunt someone that's hard to see. You might need to attach Swimming so that you can fight in the ocean or protect yourself from land-dwelling creatures. There's a lot of back and forth. Now, the cards that you have in front of you and the animals that you're creating are not the only things you need to concern yourself with. Up here, these different landscapes that we have will have different limitations of what creatures can get food and resources from what areas. For instance, swamps will only gain resources as other creatures die throughout the course of the game. Caves require Nocturnal for you to hunt there, and lakes require Swimming. And these are just a few of the different conditions that you need to meet in order to claim or get benefits from this main area. And of course, like I've said a few times, hunting is a core part of this game. If you establish your prey or your animal as carnivorous, your opponents will become prey, giving you the opportunity to feast on them, but also potentially introducing consequences based on that opportunity. If they have something like a barbed tail, or if they have a trait like poison, you might end up suffering instead of collecting and consuming. So that's the idea behind evolution. If you like head-to-head games that have a decent amount of take that, have critical thinking about card play, and allow you to build out a unique tableau, and you like watching or imagining what creatures you're developing or designing as you play, this is another fantastic introduction and iteration on the Evolution series, which, if you haven't played before, this is an incredible place to start. That being said, there is a bit of luck and randomness here, and the potential for stalemates or squabbling can certainly exist, depending on the cards you draw and how you choose to utilize them. There also might be moments where you get completely wiped out due to a bad hand or opponents, being incredibly hungry and getting the right traits in order to make you the victim. This game is not necessarily a feel-good game. It can be a riot because of that, but it can also not work with some gamers because of that as well. So keep that in mind as you decide to pick it up. With that being said, I think we should start going through the different traits that we have. Now, we're going to have 6 core foundational traits that basically are universally available throughout the course of play. That's carnivorous, fat tissue, high body weight, nocturnal, parasite, and swimming. Now, carnivorous is going to be the trait that allows you to hungrily fight or hunt other creatures. But if you have that trait, it's going to cost you 1 more food every epoch in order for you to survive. Fat tissue allows you to survive by storing food from season to season and also potentially collecting extra. High body weight is going to let you eat in the Serengeti. I believe that's the location. And it also makes you harder to hunt if they don't have high body weight as well. Nocturnal will let you hunt here in the caves. And again, the opponents need Nocturnal in order to hunt you down. Parasite is going to be attached to your opponent's cards. And what that does is it makes them more ravenous and more hungry, adding 2 to their desired food intake. And swimming means that you can only hunt and be hunted if you're in water, allowing you to gather resources from the lakes, but also limiting the range and where you operate. Now, let's start digging into more of these advanced cards as I knock a box over at the same time. So, let's see if we can find these in order. We're going to start with burrowing here. I want to show you the artwork as well so you can get a good look at it. Burrowing is going to make it so that as long as you're fed, you go hide underneath the ground and no one can come after you. It's a very nice one to attach throughout the course of play. I've had many people, especially on your first action, are able to protect their creature. Camouflage. Camouflage is going to make it so you're harder to see. You need a creature with sharp eyes in order to hunt someone with camouflage. Again, it's a fantastic trait, especially early on in the game, because it'll establish a decent amount of protection. Communication is going to be a paired trait that goes between 2 creatures This makes it so that when one animal takes food from an area, the linked animal also takes food from that same area. They're working together. Next, we're going to have cooperation. Let's see if we can find it here. Cooperation is going to be a paired trait. When a cooperation animal takes food from an area, the linked one's going to take a blue cube from the supply. Now, blue cubes don't exhaust the general pool, but they are food, so they count. Cosmopolitan is going to be the card with a little raccoon on it. Now, Cosmopolitan is going to let you feed from any location on the board, meaning I could take it from the caves even if I didn't have Nocturnal. Detrimental Mutation is going to be a card that makes it so that other players avoid one of your traits when they hunt you. This is a card that you actually play on your opponent's cards over the course of the game. Hibernation has an adorable little bear. What this is going to do, at the beginning of the extinction phase, you may discard hibernation from a hungry animal to make it a fed animal. Hibernation may not be used in the last epoch, so you can't survive to the end of the game with it, but it's a perfect mid-game as you try to build out a brand new creature. Hoofed is an interesting one. When you take a resource from a card, you're going to be able to return another one from the supply into the supply because you kind of stomp on what available resources are there, which isn't nice, but it can be highly effective if you want to exhaust the resources because your other players need or want it. Now I'm looking for Horned here, which must be over in this stack somewhere. Horned, not Hoofed. I found another Hoofed. Does not seem like there are many Horned cards in my deck. Horned. Horned is going to be the ability that when someone attacks you, a predator attacks you, you can roll the die. If you get a 5 or a 6, like I just did, the other animal, the predator, is going to expire. It makes you a little bit more dangerous to attack, but if they're hungry, they still might be forced to. Metamorphosis is going to be one of the most interesting cards in here. It's actually going to allow you to transform throughout the course of play. So let's see if we can find this beautiful little monarch butterfly somewhere in here. You know, I should have went through and gotten all these cards laid out first. Metamorphosis. This is going to allow you to rotate Metamorphosis and discard one of this animal's traits, except for an adverse trait. Then add one trait from your hand to this animal, meaning that if you have swimming and someone establishes a predator with swimming, you could utilize Metamorphosis to exhaust swimming and put in something like Nocturnal, meaning that you're no longer able to be hunted by that creature. It's a pretty nice one. Pack hunting. Pack hunting is going to be a trait that if you have more than one predator when you select a target for your predator with pack hunting, you may ignore one of the target's traits until the end of the attack. It allows you to pick off and hunt creatures and make them a little bit more vulnerable. They thought they had camouflage and that they were protected. Well, with a pack of animals, you're actually able to still take them down. Partnership is going to be one of these shared traits that goes between your cards, giving you a unique ability to two different creatures. A partner animal with fewer traits than its partner may not be attacked by a predator, meaning that the larger animal is the one that's protecting the smaller, weaker animal. So, I've seen a lot of people successfully utilize that to keep things from being attacked. Piracy, another additional action. Rotate Piracy and select another hungry animal. Move one food or one regular food from the animal to the supply. Then take a unique food on the card with Piracy, meaning you're stealing food from another player, which is kind of a rough thing to do because food is a scarce resource. Poisonous. When a poisonous animal is consumed by a predator, the poison card goes in front of the predator. If that card is still there at the beginning of the extinction phase, the predator dies. Repelling. When your repelling animal is attacked by a predator, you may discard the repelling card and select another suitable animal on the table as a new target for the predator. If there are no suitable targets, the attack ends. You're like a skunk. You get to scare away whoever's trying to hunt you. Running. Running is going to give you the ability that when you're attacked, you can roll the die. If you land on a 4, 5, or 6, which I did, the running animal survives and the attack with the predator ends. We have scavengers. Scavengers are going to allow you to consume when another animal dies. If you're the closest animal in proximity to whatever creature was just killed, you'll be able to pick off some of the remnants and gain yourself a little bit of food. Sharp vision. Let's see if we can find it in here. It might be over in the other deck. Nope. Sharp vision is going to allow you to hunt creatures with camouflage. Stasis, which is our giant tortoise, which we absolutely love, is going to be played on another player's card. A stasis animal added to your card or another player's. New traits may not be added with this card. So that means you could protect your own creature if you have one that you don't want negative traits to be added to, or you could play it on your opponents, forcing them to have someone have stunted growth. I've seen it utilized well. I've also seen it utilized in some of the most cruel ways possible. You get the perfect animal, you need one more trait placed down on it, and there comes stasis, keeping you from executing on that perfect plan. Tail loss. Where is my tail loss cards? Tail loss is a cool ability. When someone is attacked, if they have tail loss, where are they? Are they over here? Did I place them all in the pile? I don't think so. Here we are. Tail loss. When a creature with tail loss is attacked, you can discard another trait, sacrificing something from yourself in order to give them one food and end the attack, meaning you survive, but something gets ripped off of you. We have Transparent, which is the beautiful bright blue card. This one makes you completely invisible and impervious to attacks unless you've started to consume food. So, sort of a balancing. It might allow you to survive to the end of a round, but you still need to grab food with your transparent creature, meaning at that point you become vulnerable. Voracious is going to be our second to last. Voracious. When a voracious predator consumes a hungry animal, it takes 1 cube instead of 2, but then it may refresh its card and attack again, which means the voracious predator could attack multiple times and literally rip your opponents apart. If you pair that up with some things that allow you to ignore some traits, it can be a super powerful combination. And then the final creature we have here is going to be our Xylofungus. When a Xylofungus animal takes a shelter from the area, it also takes a food from the supply. A Xylofungus animal may have several shelters. Shelter is the little green cube that you take that makes it so you cannot be attacked. And these guys get to feed at the same time they take that. So if that's part of your core strategy, they're really, really useful. So there you have it. That is Evolution New World. Hopefully you're excited about this game. We've had a blast learning how to play it. And it makes me honestly want to continue diving in and watch as this franchise continues to expand. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below letting me know what other abilities and traits you'd like to see as this world continues to grow. And like always, remember to do the important thing. Get out and play some games. We'll see you next time. Thank you.